Check 1, 2. You're going to see back here, that's my bunny. Wisp. So I hope that that's also part of this tonight. This is Therapeutic Thursday. And what are you doing? That's your little playpen, because I don't trust you with all these wires around. It's not a hard wall, so you're going to fall forward if you do that. Maybe I'll let you out. We'll see. So it's Thursday. And the reason I'm here, I try to do this every Thursday. I miss sometimes. Buns, do you want me to let you out? This is a new playpen. I just got it, and this is her first time in it. So if she doesn't like it, I'm going to take her out of it. But I usually come here on Thursdays to do some sort of therapeutic practice. So I usually do journaling, mandala drawing, and chatting. I always leave it open to like, hey, let's chat. Let's be open to opening the space for anybody that would like to join my live streams and to be a part of it. I just keep hearing her behind me. And I think that right now, more than ever, it's needed for everyone, right? Specifically in my community where I live, there's wildfires happening and it's scary. So the worst thing to feel is usually anxiety over things that we can't control. And a good portion of those things are usually in our heads, right? We create problems that aren't really there. And that's what anxiety is, right? It's living with the unknown and kind of doing those types of things. This is a situation where the anxiety is a real imminent threat, right? So a physical threat of fire is terrifying. And so how do you sit with what is when what is scary, is terrifying? So that's why we're here for this hour or however long I go here. So I'm going to play with prompts of journaling. So for people that want to watch this and journal and get something out of their heads and onto paper, we're going to do that. Another thing I want to do is I'm going to draw a little bit, but not a mandala for art, but for what they call ikigai, which is a Japanese term that I love, and it represents kind of what you're really meant to do. All right, Buns. I'll let you out if you don't like it in there. Do you want to get out? I don't think she likes it. All right. I'll let you out. Come here. I'll let you out. Come here. There you go. You're out. You don't have to go in there. Okay? You don't like it? I thought you would like it. Here, watch. I'll put your blanket here instead. You want to sit with your blanket? Since no one's watching right now, it's okay. We're just doing a little video to go live and to maybe help people with therapeutics. I'll move this away. You don't like it. That's okay. You know what? We're going to see what happens, because I think I'll be able to keep you from going on the wires. Well, because this is just for fun, or I should say this is just space that I'm going to create for my friends, family, neighbors, things like that. I want this to just kind of be what we're doing right here and right now. That's the hardest part, is to be present when the present is uncomfortable, when it's scary. And when we're filled with fears and anxieties, they cause us to want to, it's the fight or flight response, and the fight flight of, usually it's, anger, how you're angry at the way things are. And then it's usually fight or flight. And the flight is to run away or to try to get away from the things that are. And both of those don't really solve any problems, and they also don't help you with what's actually happening, right? There's like numbing the pain, and then there's, ignoring the pain, and then there's facing the pain. And the facing the pain is the hardest thing to do, which is why I like to offer these types of things, like meditation, yoga, journaling, drawing, all the things that have helped me with my anxieties and my fears and my troubles and my traumas and my experience that has been, oh my God, I want to be anywhere but here right now. And one of the most helpful things that my wife always says to me when I'm in states of chaos or when I'm in places that I'm uncomfortable and I'm having a bad time or whatever, is she says, like, what would you tell somebody that was in your situation, right? She'll use the term, like, what would you tell your students? And as a yoga instructor, like, what would I do if my students were feeling what I felt? What would I say to them? So that's the first prompt that I think is super helpful in this moment in anxieties and things like that is, and I wrote it down here, and I just want it to be a prompt for you if you watch this, if you enjoy moments of journaling. So, what can my best self share with me today? So, right now, you might be scared, anxious, fearful, uncomfortable, angry, all of those things. So, what would your best self, the version of you that is in a good place, that's calm, that's safe, has all those things, your version of yourself, that's your best self, what would that version of you say to you now when you're in a space where you're really uncomfortable, you're really scared? What would my best self share with me today? Or what would, and one of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite movies is Slackers, and it was a stupid joke, but it's, what would me say? And it's silly, obviously, before it's the grammar, but what would I say to me, right? The person you're going to take the most advice from will likely be like a version of yourself, right? You're going to listen to a motivational quote by somebody, or watch a movie, or listen to a song, or something is prompted, a poem, and you're motivated by it. And why it resonates with you is usually because it's a version of yourself that you want to be, right? It's your best self. So what would your best self say to you in this moment when you are not at your best? What does your best self say to your not best self? So that's what I would encourage you to sit down, write down, think about it. What would I say to me now, right? The best version of myself is zen, calm, comforted, safe. And if I'm in a state of chaos, fear, anxiety, any of those things, I would then tell myself things like the simple things, right? It's going to be okay. Time heals everything. There's nothing you can do right now, right? The classic things that I feel like are helpful, but sometimes when you're in those states and somebody else tells you calm down or anything like that, you'll have a negative reaction to it. So think about your own self and the advice you would give you right here and right now. Here's the bunny. The bunny's very therapeutic to me, right? What are you eating? I don't know what she's eating. She's chewing. Not a good sign. What are you eating? All right. So that's my first prompt for you. What can my best self share with me today? That is, what is your best version of you? What advice would you give you in this situation? Because you're probably your best teacher, your best motivator, and the person you'd probably listen to the most if you really sat and listened to them, right? Because it'd be the advice you would give, so of course it'd be the one that would resonate the most with you. So what would my best self share with me today? So allow yourself to write that down. I'll give you that space. And I'm just going to check something on my computer real quick so that I can see what I'd like to do next. So thanks for joining if you join. If you watch this later, thanks for watching, and I hope that you can get something out of this that's therapeutic. Maybe it's just by sitting and being with your breath for a moment, with being with, with yourself, but also with, I'm sharing this space because at this moment, I feel like I'm in a calm space. If you had asked me to do this yesterday, probably wouldn't have been the same. I would not have been the same calm version of myself that I am right now. But that's that's why I brought the bunny in here, though. I wanted to see her kind of running around. And I keep looking over this shoulder because it's reversed in the camera, but she's actually over here, and I see that now. Now, she's been very good about not getting wires, so I want to keep that up. You're doing a very good job, Bun Bun. So the main prompt, I'll say it one more time, to journal right now, to sit down with a piece of paper to get something from your brain down, is what can my best self share with me today? So what would me say to me, my best version of me, right, the calm, collected one, say to myself now in maybe this state of chaos, fear, anxiety, right? Because you're going to be your best teacher. So that was my prompt for the first journaling thing that you should do. So sit down, grab a piece of paper, write it out. And then to kind of piggyback on that and to add a second prompt that might just be more open-minded or open rather than being so specific, is what is in my mind that I need to get onto paper, right? What's in my mind right now? What am I feeling? What fears, anxieties, what's going, and it doesn't have to be fear and anxiety. It could be whatever, right? What's in my mind right now that I just need to get out, right? Because sometimes we like to, we go on social media, you post, or you call a friend, which is all super important, and what you can do any version of this that you'd like. But I suggest trying to take a pen and a paper, sitting down, right? So this is the best way to just show, hey, I'm going to just go, what's on my mind that I need to get onto paper? I don't know. Write it out. That's the point. I'm offering this right now to you guys. I'm offering this as a point to show you that these moments are the most important moments of your life. When you feel uncomfortable, when you are scared, when you feel there's chaos around, the way you deal with those moments is your lesson and your growth. The reason that you become the person you are when you are your best self is because of these times. So know that right there, that this is scary to be in a state of, maybe it's political unrest, maybe it's physical distress, maybe it's physical ailments, maybe it's fear of anything, right? Those things are real. So to ignore them and to numb and to run away from and to distract is all ways to deal with it, right? There's not right or wrong. But sitting with what is, with your thoughts in front of you on paper, or again, drawing something where if you don't feel comfortable with chatting online or writing things out, you find your version of that, right? It's just getting here to here, here, out, and all of that. You can't be just one with all of those things because it doesn't, it doesn't end up being therapeutic. The therapy part of this, the therapeutic part, is to shift your thought process from narrow-minded to wide, or wide to narrow. I always say zoom out or zoom in. And I use that phrase specifically because here we are in a state of chaos that is around us, right? So that's the zoom out. aspect. I'm pulling back and going, oh my God, there's fire happening like in my backyard. That's scary. So I'm going to zoom in right now, and I'm going to take my space, my room, just this one area, and I'm going to make that my focus for at least an hour or for a little bit of time, for a period of time. And then I can zoom back out, absorb that, right? And that would be my version of therapeutically shifting my focus from what is scary and unaccessible, or I can't change, right? I can't do anything about the fact that there's fires right now besides be prepared. The only thing I can do is to offer help in the way that I can offer help. And rather than being angry and thinking, oh, somebody should do this and do that, that doesn't get us anywhere other than a circle back to the original anxiety. So another prompt I wrote down is, what is making me feel anxious? So what is it, right? So if you take your anxiety, your fear, and you manifest it or put it down onto paper, like, what am I afraid of right now? And so, like, obviously the thing that most people right now in my community are afraid of is fire. And so it's okay. So fire, right? Fire is my anxiety. That is why I'm feeling anxious. And so I can just write it a few times. Fire, right? Fire, fire, fire. And then you can just get it out. Putting it down, it's scary, right? But the more you face the fear, the easier it is to deal with. So those are types of things that you can utilize, right? What am I anxious over? What am I fearful of? What is the thing that's making me so scared? And then in those moments, you can kind of face those types of fears. But at the same time, can we go, okay, that is what I'm afraid of, and that's scary. I'm going to put that in a box, and I'm going to make that something, okay, I'm scared of that, and that is an anxiety that's real. I'm not making it up. It's not like a fake thing. But it's nothing I can actually do anything about right now. So, again, I'm going to go with then that's what's making me anxious. But if I can't do anything about that right now, I'm going to next ask, well, what am I grateful for? Like, what do I have right now that I'm afraid to lose, right? What is the reason I'm afraid of the fire is because I'm afraid to lose what? My home, right? My property. And now these are things I'm grateful for, right? These are now going to be my family, my wife, my animals, my cat, my bunny. And so now I'm not ignoring the fact that this is my anxiety, but I'm now focusing a bit more on the things that I'm grateful for. So now I'm looking at the things that I'm afraid to lose, but like, look what I still have currently. Look what's still currently in my possession and what I still have. That's what I'm trying to focus more on, right? Not the thing I can't do something about, but the thing that I can, right? So if I am afraid of this, but want to focus on what I'm grateful for, I'm going to put my time and effort into that, right? That's why I'm allowing my animal freely to run around in my room right now, because I want to let it be happy, because who knows how long we have. And that's the truth. That's also just life, right? We all die one day. And that's a thing to also, like, what's a fear, right? If my fear is this fire, my fear is also death. My fear is also loss. And those things are real threats, but they're also eventually going to happen. And we don't want it now. So why don't we enjoy what we have now? That's just me talking. But I want you to spend some time talking, whether it's something that you chat to me on live, or if you write it down and it's just a journal session for yourself to put down on paper. So you're looking at what makes me feel anxious, but then what am I grateful for? And you're going to realize that what you're afraid of is losing the things that you're grateful for. So sit with what you're grateful for while you can still be grateful. And that could just mean any given day of any given week, of even if there wasn't an imminent threat. If it was just a regular day, you should still spend time sitting with what you can be grateful for. So another prompt we're going to go into is, since anxiety is the future, right? We're afraid of what's going to happen. The next thing I'll prompt you to do is write down one of your favorite memories, right? So if I'm afraid of the future and that's anxiety, then let's take a moment to just go into the past for a moment, right? So just to shift it from I'm afraid of the future to maybe what's a good memory, and you could just sit with a good memory for a few minutes and you could write it down, you could just think about it. It could be happy, it could be funny, it could be meaningful, it could be powerful, but something that brings a sense of maybe hope, and maybe when you could think of the last time you were anxious about something and then it all kind of worked out, right? And maybe that's a good memory to have, like you were worried that this might happen, worried this might happen, and then in the end it actually worked out and it was okay. So if you think about that, I want to always teach presence, but sometimes when the present is so uncomfortable and we're just like holding on for dear life, it's okay to shift and into the past a little bit. Even if it's a recent memory or an old memory or something like that, you could take a moment and write down, like, what's one of my favorite memories? What's one of the things that has made me, very happy about living life? To be grateful for the fact that I've been on earth this many years and I've had this many experiences, that I've had this many relationships, and that I have what I have. And let that be something where you can sit with your past for a few moments, for a few minutes, whatever it is. Write it down if that helps. Sit with it, right? You can sit up nice and tall and kind of do like a meditation and just close your eyes and think about a joyful moment. And that's not to ignore the present, but it is to kind of maybe take a moment to step away from the fear of the future. So take a moment and think about one of your favorite moments, one of your favorite memories. And I'm just going to look quick here for... I'm going to go with a series of prompts here, and then I'll probably be done with the journaling aspect of this. But again, this is just to share space. I'm here to tell you that I'm here, and I'm here to express that things are scary. But if we kind of all band together and help each other, even if it's just by holding each other's hands, even if it means just listening to each other, and offering each other community and relationship and openness and all of that, it will create at least that sense of we can get through this kind of thing. And that is all I can ever offer, is that I think that I might be more of an optimist than other people, but I also feel I'm like a realist. Like, things can go bad, things can go good. But if we just sit in the present moment and try to enjoy what we have while we have it, it won't hurt as much when something happens, right? Because it's like, well, at least I didn't waste it thinking, oh no, I got to do this, because I might lose this or might lose that. So these prompts are going to be a little bit different than what I've been doing. This is going to be more like open-ended, and here, I'll show you. So these are some of my favorites. So start with just I am. I am blank. I wrote down mine. Then I have, right? I have blank. Next try, I will. Like, right, what will you do? Then you will have I own. I own, right? Then there's I feel. Of course, that's super important. What do you feel? You got to sit with what you feel sometimes. I attract. So you don't have to do all of these. Maybe just do the first one that resonates with you. I embody is the next one. I like that one. And then I create. And the last one is I release. So you don't have to do all these, but feel free to jump in and write something. It doesn't have to be a bunch of things. I kind of went with like 3 to 5 of each. I wrote, I'm helper, I'm space, I'm here, I'm teacher, I'm inspiring. I have all I need. I have patience. I have the ability to listen. I have direction. I have purpose. And this is just me, right? These were times when I needed this, right? And this might be a time when you need this. So I'll just offer that again. So maybe write down whichever one resonates with you the most, or try all of them, right? And these are great ways to, again, take stock of what you think of yourself, what you possess, what you own, what you have, right? The things that you're like basically afraid that, what causes the anxiety of fear is usually to lose the things of like this mode. But also then, like, what do you feel? What do you attract? What do you embody? These are more big picture type things that might be helpful to just go with, get out of, again, the small-minded things of my immediate, and look at what you might represent, what happens, right? What you are and own are things that you've accumulated since you were young. So that's like represent your past. And then what you embody, create, what you have, what you feel. These are in the present moments, right? And then what you release is hopefully what the future will hold, right? What will you release from the present moment? Is it going to be like a tightness, a fear, and things like that? So I'll leave this up here a little bit longer. Use this, right? The other prompts I was using was, what are you afraid of? And what would your best self say to you? These are more open-ended and much more broader picture, right? Because the reality is sometimes we need to zoom in and focus on what we can control. And sometimes you need to zoom out and you can check on the bigger picture, right? What's going on outside of your world. So if you're afraid of what's in your little bubble, then look at the bigger picture. Maybe look at the good in the outside of that. And then at the same time, if it's so scary on the outside, right? Political unrest, fear of what's going on in the world, zoom in and focus on what you have in your life. I will be grateful for what I have, for what I own. I own what I feel. I attract what I embody. I embody what I create, and then I release all of that. And if you can release at the end, that's the letting go. That's the therapy. This is where we want to get to. I relinquish everything else. That's the goal. That's what I hope to share with my friends, my neighbors, family, anybody who is feeling that stress right now, who's feeling like they're tight and scared, right? I had to pack a bag ready to go. I have, things that you have to do, right? You can be practical in the things you can do. So you can write down your list of what you have, what you own, what's important to you, and what would be in that bag, what's going to go in your to-go bag, to be realistic. And then when that's too heavy and that's scary, then you can go into the realm of like, what can I create and embody, attract? Like these are more, open to what I would like to see in the future, right? What I would like to see from myself. So I'll leave these up a little bit longer, and then we'll do one more thing, again, that's more big picture, hopefully therapeutic in its way. Wait, where is she? There's my little buns. Been very therapeutic. So these have all been prompts that I've been given in my life or I have found to be helpful. They're not specific to me, to therapy, to anything like that. They were just things that I've found. I was like, wow, that was really helpful. I was prompted to write down these things. What do I want? What do I have? What do I feel, right? The feeling thing is something that's scary. If you feel something strongly, it's really hard to feel it fully and completely. We run from our feelings most of the time because it hurts. It creates emotions. Who wants to be sad or depressed? Who wants to be scared? You want to be happy. You just want to be calm, and that'd be great if you could do that all the time. But it's not reality. It's not life. Life is those other things too. So if we can sit with those things the same way we sit with the good things, that's the well-roundedness. That's the therapy part of living, right? You learn from your mistakes, you grow from your pains and your traumas. So I have tons more prompts I could give, but at this point, I feel like maybe you sat with this a little while. And if you want to, you don't even need a prompt, right? You can just sit, write out what you're feeling, what you're thinking. And that can be helpful, right? Stream of thought. Piece of paper, pen. I am fearful. I am this. I am that. Just keep going. I am. Let it be personal and let it be therapeutic, right? In the same way that you would go to a talk therapy session, you would talk about your feelings, your problems, and things like that. Think of that like this, right? Writing it down can be just as beneficial as saying it out loud to another person. And you don't necessarily always need feedback because you're going to sometimes be your best feedback. Maybe you're not the best at taking other people's advice. So it wouldn't even be helpful to tell somebody what's going on because you're not going to listen to what they have to say. Which is why I'll come back to the very first prompt one more time, which was just what would your best self say to you in this moment? So when you're not in a state of anxiety and fear and chaos, and you are in a state of calm, that version of you, what would that version of you say to you right now? That's your best place. That's the best place to be. If somebody can help you do something like that, you're going to be your best self. You're going to be your best advice and teach yourself. So I'll allow that to happen. Resonate, let it be something that you write down. Now I'll encourage a little bit of breath work, and this is just because we all need it. We're going to just find a few deep breaths, then we'll get to the paper again. So I always kind of instruct a little bit of body posture. So if this helps you, sit for a moment wherever you're at. If you're on your phone, if you're on a computer, have a seat if you aren't already. Sit upright. Just sit comfortably, but sit upright. So sit with your whole spine aligned. But try to put your head kind of over your shoulders over your hips, and just allow yourself to sit for a moment. Allow your shoulders to kind of roll back, right? Long neck. Feel the length of your spine. And then start to land in your body. This is very scary sometimes, especially when we're feeling anxious, but it's the best place to be because it's where we have to live. So find an ability to find some deep breaths. This is very hard. Anxiety is our breath at the chest, in the neck, and tight and shallow. Hey, buns. And we're trying to push that breath down into the belly, into the hips, into the lower back. Where are you going, bunny? So allow yourself these moments to take a few deep breaths. Roll the shoulders back. Sit up nice and tall. When you breathe in through the nose, inhale deeply and allow your abdomen to be soft. So try not to hold. Allow it to be so you can fill up the abdomen with air. And then exhale it out. Inhale deeply through the nose, down the throat, into the belly. Let it expand. Feel your lower back expand. And exhale it out. Buns. Inhale to the belly. Let it expand. Let it be soft, right? That's the inhale. And then as you exhale, then you could kind of start tightening in the stomach, and that'll squeeze the air out because we're also trying to exhale all the air out. Inhale deeply into the nose, down into the abdomen. And then move that up into the ribs. So feel it expand out through the front ribs, through the sides, through the back. Then exhale, soften, let the ribs fall. Let the belly squeeze that bit of air out. This is a lot of instruction, so do what you can. Inhale deeply through the nose. Let the belly expand. This is hard, so just notice. Let the ribs expand. And exhale it all out. Let the ribs fall. Let the belly pull in. Squeeze out the air. Inhale deeply into the abdomen. Up into the ribs. Now you can go up into the chest area. So notice the shoulders back, the lungs fill. And now exhale it all out and let the chest fall. Let the ribs fall. Let the belly pull in. Let the tailbone tuck. Continue that cycle. Deep breath into the belly, ribs, chest. Exhale it out, chest, ribs, belly. Keep going. Let this be a few rounds until it feels like you're inflating a balloon fully and completely and exhaling it all out. This could take as long as it takes, right? It could be 2 seconds, 10 seconds. Don't worry about the timing. Just try to feel what it feels like to take a deep, full breath in and a full, complete breath out. And let it be smooth. Let it be soft. Let it just happen, right? Start to, if you're breathing as loud and hard as I am, I'm instructing, but you don't need to be that loud. Just, maybe you just hear a little bit of the nose. Exhale it back out. So you should be able to hear it, but not necessarily be blowing it in and out as hard as you can. When I mean deep, I don't mean loud. I mean expand, release. Do it 3 or 4 more times. Allow yourself that ability to take some deep, deep breaths. And this is the most therapeutic thing I'll do the whole night. Taking a deep breath in a moment of anxiety is the best thing you can do for yourself. Our breath controls our emotions. It's not the other way around. What your breath does, how it feels in your body, creates the fight or flight response, the fear. So if you can deepen and smooth out that breath, your nervous system will calm. And it won't fix your problems, but you'll feel that little bit more sense of presence and awareness and calmness to then go forward and make action that is right action and not scared action. Thanks, Bun Bun. She's licking my finger. Thank you. I appreciate it, Bunny. So, can we land here? Feel that, right? Be present. Feel that it's not like, oh, anxiety just melts away and we're all good. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen in an instant. It is something that's hard to do, so notice that. And now, the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to draw a little bit, but this time it's not a mandala for the sake of it being art and therapy. This is kind of more one of my favorite things to look at, and this is, again, because one of the most important things is to look at the big picture of everything right now, and with how things are scary, and in the present moment, we're going to try to be here and present and all of those things, but at the same time, can we look at what the bigger picture might be? So I'm going to get my pencils and pen and all that stuff out. I'm always like, I don't get endorsed by Staples. It just happens to be the ruler that I have. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw out what they call, like I said, it's called Ikigai. And it is spelled Ikigai. And that is going to be basically what we're going to do is I'm going to just first find my lines that I need for this situation. So 8.5, so 4.25. So I'm not going to go, I usually make a square, but I'm not going to spend time doing that right now. I'm just going to make my lines. And again, this is just to share space with you right now. So if you're not a drawing type person, don't worry. You don't have to draw with me. But maybe just sit. Maybe just be here for a few minutes, and you can just take your paper out and you can use any journal prompt that helps you, right? So if it's just, I just want to think about get my fears out, write down my anxieties, what am I afraid of? Write it out, get it onto paper, because it is by far the most helpful way to deal with stress, is to first feel your breath, know where you're at, and then next, get it out, right? It's stuck in your head, and you're just going to keep having that same cycle. You're just going to keep talking to yourself, right? You're going to have that same conversation over and over, and it's not going to get you anywhere. All right, so let's see. I'm going to see how we're going to draw this exactly. Give me one more second, since no one is on the chat currently, so you got a moment to figure this out. So I've never done this before. I've never drawn this, but I was excited to try it because I think that it's one of those things that if I can show you what it is, you'll understand what I mean when I say like the bigger picture stuff. So I'm going to say, let me look at it here. So down. So let's go with 3. And then it'll probably be 6. Let's do 3 inches. Is that too big, you think? Yeah, that's way too big. So I'm going to go, 1.5, sorry. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw some circles that overlap with each other, right? So the concept, there's like the Venn diagrams and things like that. So this will create a 3-inch. So I want it to go down. So let's see. That would put it right in the center. So what if I do this and then that? Well, that would just put it in the center, which doesn't help. Actually, I'm going to make this bigger. See, like I like trying to figure things out sometimes in real time because that's how the world works, right? Like if I just spent all this time figuring all this stuff out beforehand, you wouldn't see any of the magic. You wouldn't get to enjoy, because we want it to be, I want this to go up and overlap down here a bit. So if that's the case, what's that at? Okay, so at 1.5 inch here. Let's see if that works. It may work, it may not. And I think that, yeah, sure, we can spend time drawing when the world is on fire. And what's that going to help? Who is that helping, right? I hear that mentality. And it's one of those things where I totally get it. It doesn't help to ignore problems, but that's not what we're doing. I'm being one-pointed with my action right now, rather than being in a state of anxiety and fear of things I can't control. Instead, I'm going to see if this works. Now, I might want that to be a little bit thicker because it's hard to see. Let me see. Now, I can't quite see what you guys see at the moment. Give me a second. All right, so what we're drawing here is the, oh, what's going on, El Jabroni? So what I'm doing right now is drawing. Now, again, this is just how it's going at the moment. Doesn't mean that I'm ignoring my problems or the fact that things are crazy right now. But what I'm doing is I'm spending time doing this rather than having that same anxious conversation over and over in my head. Oh my God, what am I going to do? What's going on? It doesn't really help anything. So if I can take myself out of that space and put myself in this space where maybe it's at least a state of calm that I can kind of create for myself, right? So if I'm doing meditation or yoga or anything like that, I'm being one-pointed in my actions with the goal of, let's see if I can get this to be what I want it to be, which is maybe like 2 1/4. So let's get rid of that real quick. I think I need to go a little bit bigger with my circle, just a little bit. And I'm here to share space, right? This is something that I like to do that helps me, and I would encourage anybody and everybody that if you don't do things like sitting and drawing and being with your thoughts and your feelings and putting them on paper, or at least not thinking of the bigger picture type things, you're missing out on these moments where if you're just getting distracted and it's just easy, just go sit and watch Netflix. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to go have a drink, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to take a moment and start feeling the feelings that you're trying to avoid, you'll find right away that they're a bit more manageable than you really think they are. So I'm going to try to see if this works out. It may or may not work. And I'm drawing my circles because guess what? It makes me feel good to see patterns come together, to see creativeness happening. Okay. So, this is our ikigai. And the reason I'm doing this is because in a state of anxiety right now, right? I keep saying it, but I'm fearful for what is going on in my backyard. But at the same time, I can't really do a whole lot about it. So the best way to deal with this situation is to think about what can I do, right? Or think about a future that doesn't scare me. Let's use this concept of like, let's focus on what's going on in the next however many days and see if we can make it about positive things or at least things that are helpful. So one of my favorite things is called ikigai, and I'll write it down right here. I-K-I-G-A-I. Ikigai. That's what it's called. And the reason we're focusing on this right now is see how these different things interact and all correlate right here in this center point. That is kind of how it all works, right? So the world works in this way. That everything kind of congeals. Like this is just everything. This could be the moon cycles. This could be the way that the earth goes around the sun. I mean, it's just, it makes sense and physically and mentally and spiritually and all that. So the reason I'm using this concept though is that ikigai is basically the reason we're here, right? So everybody wants to try to find their ikigai. The reason I'm saying it is because what it is, it's this combination of everything. So you start with, what are you good at, right? What are you good at, right? What are you good at? It could be whatever, a talent, a skill, a hobby, a way of living, anything. What are you good at? Are you good at cooking? Are you good at talking? Are you good at wrestling? What are you good at? If you're good at being athletic, things like that, you start with that. What are you good at? Then you go with, what do you love? What do you love, right? What do you love to do? It doesn't mean it's what you're good at. I'm just asking what it is that you love to do. What do you love doing? Then, what does the world need, right? So what serves a bigger purpose? What serves a community? What do people need? What does the earth need? What do animals need? What do plants need, right? So what does the world need? This is usually outside of the spectrum of what you love and what you're good at. What the world needs might not be those things. But the goal, the ikigai, is to find the things that are all of these things. And the last thing, to me, it's the hardest one to combine all of this. I think this one's very, very, very hard. But the last one is also, what can you get paid for, right? What can you actually make money from? Because in the reality, we need to be paid for things. What can you be paid for? And this is one of those things where, like, in a state of right now, community chaos, I'm not looking for what can I be paid for. But this is a bigger picture type thing. And this is sometimes helpful to look at the bigger picture of things when we're in that zoomed in, oh my God, everything is scary at the moment. Can I zoom out and take a look at these things? So the other words that kind of go along with this. So usually what you love to do and what you're good at usually is what you're passionate about. That's your passion, right? You're passionate about what you love and what you're good at. These are usually easy to combine. You're a passionate person, you're usually passionate about the things you love and what you're good at. Now, what you love and what the world needs, that's a mission. That's your mission, right? So that's usually, if you love what you do and the world needs it, then you're on a good mission. You're on the mission to do the right thing. Now, when it's what the world needs and it's what you can be paid for, that happens to be your vocation. That's usually, if it's the thing that you do and somebody needs it, right? You get paid for something and somebody needs it. That's your job, right? You work for an employer is your need. You hope that the world need is a bit bigger than just a company that you work for. You hope that it's more global and helpful, but that becomes your vocation. Now, if the world doesn't specifically need it, you're good at it, and you could be paid for it. That's probably just your profession. That's what you get paid to do, and we live usually in these quarters, right? Maybe we're just doing one of those things, but usually we're living in the fact that I'm a passionate person. I usually do what I love to do and what I'm good at doing. And then I try to combine that with what the world needs. And then, like, maybe that's my mission. If I can get paid for it and people need it, that's my vocation. And then if I'm good at it, what can I be paid for? That's my profession. But ultimately, can I find my ikigai? That is really the goal. And in these times, when things are hard, when things are scary, you can take that step back and go, what is the thing that I love doing? What am I good at? What does the world need? And can I make money from it? Not my favorite part of it, but it's part of life. And this is your ikigai. And the reason that we played with this a little bit, again, because I think shapes help make sense of things. It's fun to bring all of this element in together. And it's also good to keep in mind the bigger picture. If I'm fearful, and we wrote down the things that I wrote down before, right? I started with the prompts of what am I afraid of, right? Then I wrote down what I'm grateful for. Then I have all these prompts here that I am, I will, I own, I feel, I attract. And all of that is to get into the bigger picture. And then ultimately, I'm trying to find, say I make it out of this immediate threat. My fight or flight response is gone and everything works out. Everything's good. Whenever it's going to be, everything is going to be good. What can I focus on, right? So if I can't do anything right now about the immediate danger or fear, then I want to focus on the thing that hopefully, once that fear passes, when the best version of myself tells me my advice, I find my ikigai. And I find what I love to do, what I'm good at, what the world needs, and hopefully I can get paid for it, because guess what? Then I can really keep it going. It's hard to continue doing the things that you love and what you're good at and that you're passionate about if you're not doing that as your vocation or your profession. So look at how this all kind of correlates into that center point. And this is that beautiful, this shape of being this four-pointed, four circles coming in together. It creates that beautiful picture as well. So that's my Therapeutic Thursday for this week. I wanted to offer these things because they were things that in states when I was like at my worst, when I've had a full-on breakdown, when I was at my lowest, I had people help me and pull me out with things like this. This allowed me to go, well, I need to reshape everything, right? I need to notice what to be grateful for, what to be aware of, because my fear is losing what I have. So if I'm afraid of losing it, the last thing I want to do is spend time living in fear of losing something rather than living in the present moment and enjoying the thing that I'm afraid to lose. So I encourage you, do the thing you love, be passionate, look at the mission, what do people need, be helpful, be kind, and keep in mind that we're all in this together. We are all just humans figuring it out, right? There's the concept, oh, we're all in the same boat. That may not be true, right? Everybody's going through different things, but we're all in the same storm. You know, that's the other concept, that like the world, that there is still a lot of chaos. Your chaos might be different than my chaos. Your fear might be different than my fear, but we all go through these things, our versions of those, right? Your trauma is your trauma. My trauma is my trauma. We should never be looking at each other with a measuring stick, but only as in like, do you have what you need? Do I have what I need? We need our needs met first. Then we get to go and have our haves, our wants, and all of that. So I hope that this was helpful for you. If you watch this later, I hope that this helps you. This is just me offering what I have been helped with. And it is only fair to offer to my friends, family, relatives, neighbors and all that stuff. I'm getting emotional just thinking about this because it's so scary right now. And I know people are afraid. And I know that all I can do is wait and be present and try to help. And I hope that you do the same, right? Be present, try to help, and do your best. And that's all we can do. And we're just going to be here for each other, help the people that are helping, right? I love the Mr. Rogers quote, look for the helpers right now. In my personal community, the firefighters and the EMS and the everybody that's out there helping physically fight the fires are the helpers, and I'm thinking of them, and I'm going to try my best to help in any way that I can, and I'm going to offer things like that, and that's what I would encourage you to do, because that'll make you feel better about the current situation. If you help the helpers, those people are the ones that you need to focus on, not the people that aren't doing enough, right? We don't need to spend more time being angry at each other. We need to spend more time being community and spending time sharing space. So thank you for joining me Thursday. I try to do this every Thursday from 6 to 7. This week was special for me to do this because it's hard and heavy, and I'm trying to just sit with what is, even though that's really hard to do. So thank you. I hope you have a good rest of your Therapeutic Thursday, your week, and stay safe. If you're in my community, reach out. So thank you. Thanks, El Jaroni, for joining. You're definitely the person I thought of with wrestling, what you're good at, what you love, what the world needs, and what you could be paid for. Wrestling's important. It is. It's a go watch some wrestling if you want to really let yourself let go into the spectacle of life, of the craziness and the chaos, right? That could be really fun. I suggest doing those types of things as well as all this therapeutic stuff. So thank you. I hope you have a good rest of your week. Thank you so much, and take care of yourselves.